Does your car sound like this? Well, today we're going to help you make your car sound like this. This is a DIY guide on how to change your downpipe on your turbo EJ Subaru. This will not work for the FA20 or the FA24. This will work for almost all EJ powered Subarus, which means Imprezas, Foresters, Legacies. It's the same process because these cars all have downpipes. So let me show you what tools you're gonna need. Okay, so the tools that you're going to need are a 3/8 ratchet, a 1/4 inch ratchet, various sockets. So we have a 10 mil, a 12 mil, and a 14 mil. We're also going to need wrenches. So we have a 14 mil wrench, a 12 mil wrench, a 10 mil wrench. An extension is helpful. And then we have a shallow 14, any kind of penetrant, PB blaster, WD-40, whatever you have works, an oxygen sensor remover tool, a flathead screwdriver, and this is optional, but it helps a lot. It makes the job a little easier, especially if you're working where the bolts are really tight, a flex head ratchet, and something that isn't necessary but also pretty handy is an electric ratchet. We'll be working on my 2004 STI today. We're swapping our aftermarket downpipe for a factory one, but the steps are exactly the same. You start by taking the intercooler off, the turbo heat shield off, and the bolts and nuts that hold the downpipe all from the top while you have easy access, and then we jack up the car. Taking the intercooler off is really easy. All you have to do is take the 12 mil off of here. There's one on the other side. And then right here, you're going to take these off, these clamps. If you have T-bolt clamps, which I do right here, I think this is a 10 mil, but most people just have a regular clamp like this. And this one you can just use a flathead to get off. Same thing with this one down here. It's a little hard to see, but this one down here, you can use a flathead and just twist it off and the intercooler should come right off. We're starting by removing my STI strut brace. One thing you want to make sure that you do is you put your strut tower nuts back on. The PCV hardline bolts are 10 mils and there's 3 of them. If you're like me and you want your hardware to look nice while you're doing this and you're trying to clean some stuff up, what I found works best is a steel wire or a brass wire brush, and all you have to do is just hold it in hand. Wear gloves so you don't stab yourself a bunch of times, and all you have to do is just... You don't have to do this. This is only if you're crazy like me. It's time to remove the bypass valve. This is held in by 2 12mm bolts. The intercooler bracket and mount bolts are also 12mm bolts, and there are 3 of them. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. It really helps us out and helps us get noticed. If you want to keep your engine bay looking really nice, what I like to do is I like to put like a microfiber towel in between the bypass valve, because when you're wiggling this stuff around, this might be smacking into your intake manifold, so you don't want to chip the paint off of it. So we just put a microfiber towel, and now there's no more contact that's going to mess it up. So we're almost done. We just have to take the flathead. We just have to take the clamp off. Once all the bolts are removed, you can wiggle the intercooler out of its place. It takes some time, so be careful with it. I like to lift up the intercooler to clear the AC hard lines. It makes it easier to maneuver. To remove your intercooler pretty easily, after you get all the bolts and brackets off, all you have to do is slide the top part, the top hose off where it goes into the intake manifold. So once you get it off, you can pivot it and then you can lift it up and pull it back. That way you can get it out. Otherwise you're going to be fighting the intercooler. You're going to be hitting a bunch of stuff. Thing you should also do is you should check to see the quality of your hoses underneath here. Normally these red ones are pretty chewed up on STIs. This one looks like it's in pretty good shape, especially for a 22, 23-year-old car. So we're going to leave this on. Now find a safe place to put this because you don't want to mess up your fins. Check out where the heat shield bolts are, and once you find them, check to see if they're rusty. Normally they're pretty bad, and almost always they will break off. What I would recommend you do is get some PB blaster or WD-40, any kind of like liquid penetrant, spray it on here, let it soak, and then twist it off. As I am going to replace all of these bolts because there's no point in putting crusty bolts back in. They might break the next time. While you're in here, check your clutch fluid and check your brake fluid. Brake fluid you can access, you know, even with the intercooler on, but clutch fluid you can't. If it's looking dark, I highly suggest changing these fluids. I was talking to Justin about this, and the power steering fluid, the clutch fluid are two of the most neglected fluids on these cars. So while you have it off, make your life easier and just change it while you can. I got lucky and my bolt didn't break, but it did try to make a quick escape. Don't you just love working on your own car? This might be frustrating, but it's rewarding. If you have any DIY requests, drop them in the comments below. Oh, there's a lot of oil right here. Yes! Got it. 3 out of 3. These definitely have more. I think they have like 5, but I'm pretty sure. Yep. I only put on 3 last time. Yeah. The bolts and nuts right here don't look very good. This is where penetrating fluid is your friend. So we got the intercooler and the heat shield off. So what I like to do is I like to use 2 wrenches to get the 2 bolts and nuts, and then 2 nuts on the sides off of the car. And what you can also do is you can use a ratchet, like you can also use a ratchet and a wrench, whatever you guys have, it works. So don't make this mistake, because I made this mistake. You guys probably saw it on the Hawkeye STI when I was taking the downpipe. You want to make sure you are loosening and not tightening. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. But when you're doing this, so let me just get this on. So what you're gonna wanna do is get it on and then decide which side you're going to be loosening. So what I like to do is I like to do the downpipe side. So remember, we are pushing, not pulling like I did. Eagle Eye viewers will notice that I'm actually tightening and not loosening these bolts. Then Ben doubling down using an extension to also tighten them.
Wait a second.
Yep, I know what you're thinking. These guys are stupid. So don't make that same mistake. Otherwise, it's just going to get really, really tight and maybe even harder to get off. So let's see if we have enough leverage. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Okay. Okay, sometimes it's way too tight, like this time. So what we're gonna do is leverage is your friend. The handle from your jack, and it does fit in here. We know by experience. Whoops. From the back, and then use one hand to loosen it. There we go. That's not so bad. 5 right now. If you do not want to use your turbo heat shield, I know some people don't, what you want to do is you want to remove this bracket. Don't put this bracket back. So one thing I wanted to show you is, check this out. So we got the 10 mils that hold a heat shield on right here, but that's why this wasn't on right here. You see, the previous owner was trying to take it off, or somebody took it off and it broke inside. So this is generally what ends up happening. If they're rounded or rounding, you should immediately replace them. Do not reuse them, because if you round these off, it's going to be a nightmare taking these off. 2 side nuts off, and then we have 1 more. This is pretty easy. The bottom one's the most difficult. Some people like to access it from the bottom. I like to try to get it from the top. If you use a shorty ratchet with a 14 mil shallow socket, you should be able to reach it. So let's try that. The most difficult one is at the bottom underneath the bell mouth of the downpipe, and I can't find my shallow socket for my 1/4 inch ratchet. This is what I like to use, and it's worked on a 13 STI, it's worked on an 07 STI and a Forester, so it should work on this STI, but I don't know if I have enough space now that I'm using a 3/8 socket with an adapter to a 1/4 inch, so we'll see. So it's offset right here, so it's right below down here. It's not in the middle, it's offset to the passenger side of the car. Put a couple fingers on it, get a feel for where it is, and then guide this down. Let's see where it is. There we go. And then see, hold the back of your ratchet. Make sure it doesn't slip. Use a couple fingers to pull up. Come on. You're only going to get a couple clicks because there's frames in the way, but there you go. See that? This is what the sound of success is like. So what I like to do is twist my body, use my right hand because I'm right-handed. There you go. That's it. That makes me really happy because that was going to either ruin my day or make my day. Now what we have to do is disconnect the plug for the oxygen sensor and 2 bolts and nuts that hold on the downpipe to the catback. So next step, jack up the car. What's up, Marty and Moog? Now we're going to lift up the car. And one thing that I like to do is I like to lift my car up from the middle, not the sides, because I don't want to mess up my pinch weld. So I'm going to show you guys exactly where to lift it up. If you have a blob eye, I think even a bug eye, you're going to have a plate like this where your steering rack is. And even Subaru specify this as plate, jack, up, down, D-Y-N. I don't know what that means, but this is a jacking. When your car's low, it takes a lot of pumps to get it up. But this car's factory ride height and it's still too low. We're underneath the car now, and this is where the jacking plate is, right here. We have to take off the oxygen sensor right here and the 2 bolts and nuts that hold the downpipe on to the catback. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to take it off from the side rather than crawling underneath the car this way. I'm just going to do it from the side. I have enough space to get underneath here. Pop the plug for the oxygen sensor, which is right on the other side. And once we get that out, there is a bracket with a 14 mil bolt that holds the downpipe on to the transmission. So the bolts and nuts that hold the catback onto the downpipe is a so the factory size, the nut is a 12 mil and the bolt is a 14 mil head. And what I like to do to get the O2 sensor off is if you put a flat head on the top, you can slide the clip up and then just pull the wire through. It's the easiest way to do it. That's how I do it. We're underneath the car now, and that is the O2 sensor. And you guys can see that it leads all the way through here, over there, under here, and there is the plug right there. What to do is get that bolt out right there. Man, that's hard work. Okay, so we got the O2 sensor unplugged and we got that 14 mil that holds the downpipe onto the bracket. This is a pain, but you know what? It'll be worth it. But not for me because I'm going back to stock. So this is what California wants. Sometimes if you give it too much of an angle, it starts to get caught on the studs. I came up here, so I'm not using the leverage of the downpipe to bend my studs on the turbo. So what I'm going to do is get back underneath, lift it up, and pry it back. Also, if your downpipe is heat wrapped, you know, wear a long sleeve shirt. Don't wear a short sleeve like I am. Here we go. You guys can get away with using an adjustable wrench. Sometimes it works, a lot of the times it doesn't. So we went to Harbor Freight earlier and we got this. This isn't normally what I like to use. Man, this is impossible to get off with gloves. Here we go. So this isn't what I normally use. I use the socket, but they didn't have the socket in stock. So you get your special O2 sensor socket, and you guys can get these pretty much anywhere. So make sure the side with the 6-point is on the bottom. Slide it onto the harness, slide it straight down, and then there you go. It is on. If you need more extension, use the handle of your jack. While you do this, make sure you twist the harness. A lot of people don't do that, and you can actually end up messing up or ripping one of your wires. Ask me how I know. The first time I ever took off an oxygen sensor, I didn't twist the wire with the oxygen sensor, and it ripped these wires right here. So yeah, don't do that. Don't be like me. Well, be like me now, that the person that knows. Here is the factory downpipe. If you guys are having a hard time getting a donut gasket off your other exhaust to use on your aftermarket exhaust or vice versa, so I'm just gonna show you guys how I got it off. What I do is you get 2 flat heads, preferably ones with wider heads on them, and then you put one on either side and you just push up just like that and it comes off. Your donut gasket is falling apart in your hand. I highly recommend getting a new one. And just like that, it's flush now. This downpipe is significantly heavier than the other one. I don't have a scale, otherwise I would show you guys. So this is one of the reasons people change their downpipes. Look at how small this bell mouth is right here. The other one, the opening is a lot larger. When you're guiding it up, try to get the bell mouth, these right here, because it does have 3 studs. You can put this bell mouth on the studs and it'll hold it, but it'll still sag a lot. What you can do is once you get these slid in, you can put this on the bracket itself and then it'll hold the weight of the downpipe, your bolts, and get a couple threaded on because you want to make sure that it seats on your downpipe, and the last thing you want is the downpipe sliding off. The wire brush that I mentioned to clean up the threads, if they're as rusty as mine, it will help. It will clean them up a little bit. Apply a little bit of anti-seize to the bolts and the studs, and next time they'll come off a little easier. Downpipe is on, the catback is all hooked up, we got everything sorted, the 3 nuts are holding the downpipe on, so that means we still have to put the bolts back in. I'm going to be using the bracket because I'm going to use my heat shield, and after all this, I'll show you guys a little trick to get your intercooler on a little easier because I know that can be a little bit of a pain to get back on. Have you changed a downpipe on your car before? It's literally like going to war. Way easier on the new WRXs because they run I think it's a GT22 turbo, and they have a J pipe, so it's underneath here, which makes it a lot easier to access than here. And I think it's only held on with 4 nuts, because I remember I took it off on Jake's old VA, and you know, he rounded his. So that's why I thought, you know what, maybe I should make a video to help you guys out, because this is something that is pretty common, especially if you want to unlock that Subaru Rumble. But a lot of the times, people don't want to get into something that they're not familiar with, and that's what YouTube videos are for. That's why I'm here, and that's why I look like hell, so you don't have to. No, you probably will, if I'm being honest with you. Fiberglass in my hair and my arms is driving me crazy, so I'm trying to do this as fast as I can. I really should have cleaned the ground before I rolled around in it, but you know, whatever. If you want to fix your itching, take a hot shower. The things that's going to stop you from putting your intercooler on is friction. So if you're running a WRX, so if you have a Forester XT, Legacy GT, basically a non-STI, you probably have a plastic coupler that slides onto the turbo. So what you're going to do is use any kind of lubrication. You can use something like PB Blaster, WD-40, engine oil, anything really works. Put some on your hand or on the turbo and around the lip of it so the intercooler slides on. It is a little tricky. Don't give up. It can be frustrating though. So slide it in like this. Try to line it up. It's a little hard to see when you're doing this by yourself. Here, it will be on to the, it'll slide into the hose for the intake manifold. Okay, so when we got it placed, you're gonna wanna run around to the other side and just try to line up the intercooler hose. So what you wanna do is you wanna guide the intercooler past the AC lines like this right here, and it's slowly starting to line up, but it still needs to be lowered. So essentially you put the intercooler on like this, you make sure the hose to the intake manifold is about to go in, and then you lower it because this AC hardline is in the way. So you wanna get it past that, just like that. And then you slide this on, and you should start to see it's starting to line up with your turbo. So you push it more over to the side, it's hitting this hose right here. So this is why having a helping hand helps a lot. So there you go, now we're past that hose. Now, make sure you start lining it up. If it's not moving, just look around because it was just catching on this hose right here. So move it around, get this lined up. There's so much stuff in the way, but it is not impossible. And I have faith in you. You can do this. If I can do it, then you can do it. Right side, the driver's side of the intercooler, and there you go. Look, it's slid on. Reinstall and secure the intercooler with the bracket. It's really important, and it holds the intercooler in place, especially when the car's under load. Carefully thread the 12mm bolts for the bypass valve. If you're installing an aftermarket downpipe, chances are you have a tune ready, so make sure you follow the instructions on the tuner and install it before the first start. And that is how you change the downpipe on your turbo Subaru. Before you make any kinds of modifications to your catalytic converters on your car, make sure to check your local law and compliance. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, it really helps us out, and hit the like button, it helps us get noticed on the algorithm, and we'll see you in the next video.